September 20th, 1863. When I wrote this letter, the regiment was no longer finding its feet. We were finding our form. By early fall, the work had changed. Bowen later wrote that this was the period when the regiment truly settled into cavalry service. The confusion of transition had passed. We were no longer infantrymen learning to ride. We were cavalry now and expected to act like it. The drilling was constant, saber work, mounted movement, guard duty that demanded attention rather than endurance alone. We were trained deliberately, taught to move as a unit, to respond quickly, and to remain steady in the saddle no matter the conditions. There was less marching on foot and more preparation on horseback. We were being shaped. That is the frame of mind I wrote from when, with help, I took pen to paper and wrote home to my mother. I spoke of the men around me because by then the company had become a world of its own. Daniel Tompkins was with us, a young fellow, barely grown, but already carrying himself like a soldier. He had joined us young, and though the work was demanding, he kept pace. You could see it in the way he handled his horse and followed instruction. Bowen later noted that many of the men who entered during this period were tested quietly, not by battle, but by discipline and endurance. I mentioned Robert Rider as well, steady, dependable, the sort of man who did his duty without drawing attention to himself. And I spoke of Rensselaer Rider, though I may not have set his name down exactly as it should have been. I knew the man well enough. He was already showing signs of leadership. Bowen writes that this was the time when capable men began to distinguish themselves, not yet by rank, but by how responsibility seemed to settle on them naturally. I also wrote about the horses. In cavalry service, a man's horse mattered as much as the man himself. We took note of who had been issued a strong mount, who rode a black horse, who had a gray. These things mattered. A good horse could carry you through exhaustion. A poor one could finish you. The regiment was still being fitted, men matched with horses, equipment adjusted, routines enforced. It was not glorious work, but it was necessary. Bowen described September of 1863 as a season of discipline. We were not idle, but neither were we charging into battle. We drilled, stood guard, and waited. We learned to endure long hours in the saddle and to trust one another. For my part, I wrote simply. I told my mother who was with me, who was well, what I could say plainly without embellishment. I did not complain. I did not boast. I wrote as a son who wanted his family to know that he was steady and doing his duty. This is that letter. Camp, September 20th. Dear Mother, I take this opportunity of writing a few lines to you to let you know that I am well at present, and hope that these few lines will find you the same. We are getting along very well now. Daniel Tompkins is with us, and Robert Rider as well. V.L. Rider is also here. William Ryken has got a black horse, and Carton Canley has got a gray one. We drill most of the time now, and do guard duty. The boys are all well as usual. You must excuse this short letter, for I cannot think of much to write this time. Write soon, and let me know how you are getting along. This from your son, Levi D. Green,